Hey guys, what's going on? We have a 2003 Toyota Sequoia, and it has a bad rack and pinion. So please remember safety first. This is a heavy truck. You do not want it falling on you. I have jack stands underneath it, but really you should be using bigger jack stands. I wasn't really comfortable using those small ones, but it's all I had to work with, which is why I left the floor jack underneath the car also. So right here I'm just showing how bad the inner tie rods are. As you can see, there's also a broken end link. And you want to go ahead and spray any nuts or bolts that you plan on removing ahead of time to give the penetrating oil some time to penetrate, I guess. So that's getting on your link. Here I'm spraying the steering shaft, hoping that it would help it slide off once I take the bolt out. And as you can see, this bushing right here for the rack and pinion is completely destroyed. This bolt right here has to come out from the top. It's probably the hardest one to take out given its position. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove any nuts and bolts. If you have an impact gun, you're best off using it. It's going to make your life so much easier. Now here's one of the ways to remove a tie rod. Basically just hit whatever it goes through, eventually to come off. And here again I'm just showing how bad the tie rod is. Yeah, it's completely destroyed. And here we are on the right side of the car, taking off the other tie rod. Here goes the second method for removing a tie rod, which is a pickle fork, and you just kind of jam it in between the knuckle and the tie rod and just keep hitting it with a hammer. And keep in mind, only use that tool if you're not planning on reusing the tie rod. And here goes the final option, which I think is the best. It works the easiest, as you can see. So if you have one of these, go ahead and use that. I'm on the right side of the car, just checking the inner tie rod. As you can see, it's also destroyed. Now for this 22 millimeter right here, I had to use a swivel extension because I could not fit my impact gun in there with the stabilizer bar in the way. And also don't forget the washer. Try to keep all your bolts and nuts together so you don't lose anything. Whatever, just find something that works for you. So this lower nut is pretty easy to get off. The one above it is a little bit more difficult. Just use a swivel extension and you should be okay. And before you know it, you'll have the nut and the bolt off and you can move on. So now you could go ahead and get the bracket off, and the bushing on this rack and pinion is completely destroyed. This rack and pinion has been changed before. It was the original one was replaced with another used unit, and original bushing was reused. So now it's time to kick that thing to the curb and get a brand new bushing for it. Yeah, it's definitely seen better days. So here I'm trying to take the bolt off that holds the steering shaft on, but the impact gun that I'm using just won't cut it. So I'm gonna have to switch over to a ratchet and a long extension to get this done. So the bolt that I said was the most difficult to get out. Right now I'm on top using my ratchet to take it out. As you can see, it's turning, but it's gonna take some time. And keep in mind, it was on there very tight because of the rust. So I was using a 1/2 inch ratchet, and my ratchet's pretty long. And once I was able to break it loose, I ended up switching over to a 3/8 ratchet. Like I said, it'll take some time, but eventually you'll get it out. Okay, so now you could start taking off the hard lines going into the rack and pinion. You want to remove the lower one first, and that will give you access to get to the top one. Now, line, make sure you have a pan underneath because it is going to shoot out power steering fluid. So keep that in mind. And now that you have the lower line out, you could go ahead and remove the line that's on top. And I didn't get much power steering fluid on, if anything, but still you might want to just keep your pan just in case. Okay, so it took me some time to realize this, but that does slide in and out to let the rack and pinion drop down. At first, I didn't know that, and I was fighting with the rack and pinion to get it off of this because I thought it was like a welded in stud. So keep that in mind. It does move. Now you could go ahead and inspect all your parts, make sure everything looks correct. You probably should have gone ahead and done this first, but whatever, right? Alright, as you can see, I have two different parts here. I guess just different manufacturers, because this one right here has a Zerk fitting and to grease it, and the other does not, but that's okay. And right now I'm just showing a comparison of what the old one is like, and this is what they should be like, completely stiff. And in case anyone was wondering, we're not changing out the rack and pinion because of inner tie rods. That's not the case. The rack and pinion is actually damaged. The seals were leaking crazy. So I hope you don't think we're changing out the rack and pinion because of some simple inner tie rods. So that's not the case. And here I am just measuring the old rack and pinion and trying to line up the new rack and pinion to the same marks, to get it as close as I can when I go ahead and put it back on the car. This is really going to help for when you take the car in for an alignment. the technician isn't going to have a difficult time to get your car back in alignment. So here's something that caught my eye. This stud right here should be all one piece. It should be solid, and look how it's moving. It's actually cracked all the way around. So I'll be sure to bring that up to the customer and let them know about it. I put some grease, some synthetic grease on the inside of this cap right here, just so that when it rests on the new bushing, there's some lubrication between the two. So because I know this stud is damaged, hesitant at over tightening it, but once I got down to the bottom, it seemed to tighten up decent, and it seemed like it was holding pretty well. So yeah, it didn't seem as bad as I thought. So this is that one bolt that's very difficult to get out, and I went straight for using my 3/8 ratchet to get it back in. You're gonna need the 1/2 inch to get it out because of the rust, but once you break all that loose, you should be okay to use a 3/8 ratchet to get it back in. And just go ahead and start tightening everything down. Double check everything. Make sure you don't forget any loose nuts or bolts. Now, when I was taking everything apart, I didn't show lower 12 millimeter, but I did end up having to take it off because the top one, the shaft, would not separate. Now, it does seem like you could get both of these lines mixed up, but one has a smaller nut than the other. So the smaller nut goes on top, and the line with the larger nut goes on the bottom. Okay, so reinstalling these lines, try not to overdo it. You do not want to strip out any threads. It's going to make for a very bad day if you do. Also, make sure you install the line that's on top first, and then you could do the line that's on the bottom. Things can be very difficult to get off. What I found to work for me is to get a vice grip on the outside end, how I have mine, and clamp it down as tight as you can. And you really want an impact gun for this. I mean, you don't absolutely need it, but you really do want one. Make sure you use plenty of penetrating oil as well, and in time you'll get it off. Okay, so here's where it's very easy to make a mistake. Now, do you see how the outer tie rods are curved? Make sure you put the same one on that side. See, these two match as far as their curve goes. The first one didn't, so don't mix those up. And if you come on this side, you could see it matches this side. So just thought I'd throw that out there because I know it's very easy to mix these two up. And this is the side that has a Zerk fitting on it for grease. So make sure you put the grease on before anything. which is what I'm doing right here. You may not have the access that you need on the car to get the grease gun on there, so that's why I went ahead and did it while the part was off of the car. And here I am just taking a measurement of the old and this is just so when I put on the new outer tie rod I could get it in the same general ballpark as the old one, and this is really to help out the technician who's going to be doing the wheel alignment on your car. Also so that the car drives halfway decent if you don't have, time to take it to a wheel alignment right away. You want to get the measurements as close as possible so that the car drives okay. Make sure you line up your castle nut with the hole that's drilled through the stud so you could fit your cotter pin. And once you get your cotter pin in, just go ahead and bend the ends back. And here I am doing the same thing on the other side, just taking measurements to get my outer tie rod as close as I can to the old one. So now it's time to fill up your power steering. And as you can see, the cap does call for ATF, so that's what I'm going to put in it. The the fluid that came out of the old rack and pinion was very contaminated, so I'm going to go ahead and put new fluid back in. Make sure you put your cap back on your because the fluid will shoot out if you don't. So what you want to do now is turn your steering wheel left to right and then shut the car off and go check the level of your power steering and keep topping it off, and you're going to keep doing this back and forth. It's normal for to hear squealing, and that's just because there's air trapped in the system. Once it stops squealing and the power steering works nice and smooth as it should, you're done bleeding the system. And with the car running right now is a great time to inspect everything and make sure that there isn't any leaks. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you liked my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.